Here, that recording will stay up. So I made a reminder to mention to you guys. First of all, can I have you guys put your phones away, please? Again, I'm going to get going on class. I have a light day for you guys. I need you to pay attention, follow along, do the short assignment I got for you, and then when we're done, we should have some time to hang out. But again, give me your attention, your focus. We'll get through our work, and then we can hang out. So I'm changing my late work policy. One, late work was much more prevalent. Like there was more late work than I had anticipated. And it stayed late and missing much more than I thought. My late work policy was 50% for any work that's submitted past the due date. And it hurt a lot of you guys' grades because you kept having late work and missing work and not turning it in. I'm not calling out names at all. I'm just general consensus. I don't want it to impact your grades so much. So what I'm doing is I'm removing the late work policy, or the late work penalty, excuse me, up until the end of like the subunit. So that means if you guys have missing work right now, you can turn it in to me right now or tomorrow, full points. Right? I'll mark it in PowerSchool that it was late. Right? I'm still going to document that, but it will be full points. Right? The issue that I have is if I let that slide, then what's going to happen is the end of the semester, someone's going to be like, oh my gosh, I have 15 missing assignments. I'm going to do them all and submit them a week before the end of the semester and get full points. Well, even if I have 10 kids do that's 100 assignments that I'm going to have to grade within a week. One, it's going to make my life a nightmare, and I'm not going to be able to grade them on time, and I won't be able to get your scores changed in time.
Like you, Mr. Heisling, all they got to do is not do their work and just turn it all in on the last day.
I'm going to prevent that, though, because one, I can't handle it. All your grades will be wrong because I won't be able to keep up. Two, it defeats the whole purpose of this class and doing homework and assignments. This class in particular, it builds on the skills that we learn. We learn a skill and then we use it. Then we use it to do something more advanced. Then we use multiple skills to do something even more advanced. It's pointless to do all this work and practice at the end of a semester when we've already done all the projects and everything that you would have needed these skills for. So, like I said, this class has 4 big units. Basically, each one unit for every quarter of the year. We're in quarter 2 and unit 2, so we're right on track. You've noticed each unit has about 4 kind of subunits that they call lessons. And in each lesson, there are like daily activities. Today we are doing 2.1.4, right? 2.1.4 is unit 2, lesson 1, activity 4, or day 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the cutoff point for all late work the end of the lesson. Right? We've been doing a couple days of unit 2.1, which is about assemblies, putting things together. When we do the final project, it's 215. For you guys, that'll happen after break. So roughly the end of next week, that will be your guys' deadline for submitting any late work for 2-1. 2-1-1, 2-1-2, 2-1-3, 2-1-4, or 2-1-5. Am I explaining that clearly? Is there any questions on what I'm actually saying? Yes, please. Make my life easier, make your life easier. Right? I give you class time. Just do it. Give me an hour and a half and then walk out of my class. If you forget it, you're going to hurt yourself, but just give me some effort. Get your work in. Get your points. Learn something. So many kids are just wasting their class time and then they shoot themselves in the foot because they dig themselves a hole that they can't get out of and they tank their grade. That's hard for me to watch, right? I'm trying to help you guys learn and get stuff done. So again, any late work, I will accept for full credit up until the end of the lesson. So 2.1, anything in 2.1, you can turn into me at any time until 2.1 ends. Right? So when we turn in project 215, which will probably be the end of not next week, the following week, because we got fall break. At that point, any late work, 211, 212, that will be a 0 if you haven't gotten it in. And then you can't turn it in after that. Does that make sense to everybody? Is there any questions about that? Anything that's confusing? Because I want to clarify that right now so that we're all on the same page. Do we all think that this is fair? At least better than my old policy. It's a better situation for you guys. Right? I'm doing this to remove the penalty for late work so it doesn't hurt your grade. And I'm also doing it to keep you on track. Right? A lot of students that I had that did just nothing for a whole 9 weeks. That'll really hurt your progress and understanding in this class, and I don't want that to happen. Right?
Is this going to be the same for all your classes?
Yes. Yep. So ICP, I'll do it by unit. Right? So when we take the unit test, all that stuff will be due.
We don't have a unit test this week, do we?
No. All right, any more questions about the late work? I don't mean to spend a lot of time on it, but I need to make sure it's clear to everybody. Are we all on board and okay with this?
I'm concerned about this next project. That's fine.
It is basically the headphone case, but now you're going to do an actual assembly. It'll be pretty straightforward. You guys will be all right. Any more questions before I dive in for today?
So we'll just put the pieces on top of each other then?
Yeah, but we'll assemble them. Okay, so I'm going to move on from late work policy. I got that communicated. I posted it to Classroom. I'll probably also email everyone. I just need to make sure everyone is aware of this. All right. What I'm going to do today, it's a pretty light day, but I need you guys to focus. I'm going to show you how to do this. I'll give you an example, show you everything. Then I'm going to ask you to do it for the headphone case you guys made. The point of today is now that we know how to do an assembly, we need to know how to do an assembly drawing, right? We're going to communicate, hey, I made this assembly, I put all these parts together, look how cool my 3D model is, which it is, it's awesome. But then you need to document it, dimension it, list the parts, etc. That's what we're going to learn how to do today. So again, I'm going to condense all of the MyPLTW instructions for 214. I'm going to just summarize it for you and show you what you need to do.
So you're just basically showing us how to do it today, and that's it.
Yes. Then I'm going to ask you to do it. Right? I'm going to show you, you'll repeat it.
This is why we should have no excuse not to have late.
I know. I am doing everything I can to help you guys out.
And we have a study hall.
Yes. If you ever need help, just email me Mr. H, can I come in tomorrow? Get help. By all means. You can come in and probably spend 10 minutes in my room. I can straighten the assignment out and you can be on your way. Right? Please use to come in and get help, get your work done. So today, this is what we're going to be creating. This is a part drawing, but of an assembly.
This kind of looks weird.
Huh?
This looks weird.
Yeah.
It's not too bad. The first thing you'll notice, there's multi-views of the assembly. Well, that's exactly like we're used to. It's just no longer a single part, it's an assembly of parts. We got our front view, we got our right view, and then we have our isometric view. To show the audience, if I give them this, they'll see kind of what this assembly looks like. I want you to pay attention. I still have dimensions. You see the dimensions on the left side with the multi-view? What is this dimensioning?
How, it's 1/2 of the square on the bottom?
Yeah. Is it dimensioning a part dimension? No. This 1/2 inch is not any part.
Is that how much
It's-
it takes up of the...
It's a spacing of that part. I'm telling you, hey, this block, that back side of it is 1/2 inch away from the back edge of the other 2 blocks. These dimensions are the location of the parts. They're not dimensions of the part width or length themselves. Over here, this is really silly. This block is 1/16 of an inch away from the edge of that block. So I want you to be aware, dimensions in an assembly multi-view include the position of the parts, not the part width or length or whatever themselves. That's the first half of it. Over here, does anybody have any idea what this view is called? I don't expect you to know, I was just curious. No, not quite. This is something new. This is an exploded view. This right here is an exploded view. You can tell because the parts that were assembled, they look like they were exploded outwards. This view shows how the pieces are put together, right? This block I'm going to put straight down on the base block. This block would come over into the side and attach. It basically blows your part up into all the little pieces so you can see all the pieces, and then you can also see how they end up getting fit together. So we're going to learn how to make this exploded view. Down here, this table, you see how it's got part numbers that correspond to the part numbers of your assembly? This is called your bill of materials, or your parts list. In Onshape, they refer to as BOM, bill of materials. It lists the part numbers and the name of it, and then it labels them on your assembly. So someone can say, what the heck is part number 1? Well, part number 1 is a bar tall made out of birch. You're like, what's this bottom part? Oh, that's the arch. It's also made out of birch. I'll show you. Don't worry about it. This is the goal for today. You guys are going to be learning how to make this. And I'm going to show you right now how you do this, how you make it look like this in Onshape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in. Again, I don't really want you to try and keep up with me. I'm going to go kind of quick and show you where the buttons are and how to do it. And then I'll have you do it yourself. But you'll start with obviously logging into Onshape. Once we're in Onshape, I'm going to example and show you the selfie stick assembly. What you guys are going to do is you'll get with your partner and you'll work with them using your headphone case. That way you only have 2 parts to assemble, so yours will be a lot simpler. I'm going to do like a full-blown, it's actually kind of annoying to do it for the selfie stick. You can just do it by yourself. It should be pretty easy. If there's problems, let me know after we do work time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my assembly, right? This is the selfie stick assembly that we made. I'm going to give you the example using this assembly. So the first thing I need to do is I'm going to make a new drawing. I'm going to use my PLTW template. And it's going to be a blank view, right? Because it's not a part. It can't just spit out the 4 standard views. And it's saying, what do you want to place a view of? See, there's nothing listed. That's because I'm looking at parts. I'm not doing a part drawing. I'm doing an assembly drawing. Well, my assembly is in this document, so I'm like, yep, I want that assembly. I'm going to place a view right here. And then this gets really annoying. There's my side view. So obviously, my part is too big for the document. So if this ever happens to you guys, just right-click on the view. Go to View Properties, and you got to change the scale. This image is the exact size that the dimensions are. It's huge. I'm going to cut this down to a 1/4 scale. Oops. This will be useful in the future if this ever happens to you. And then the main view I need is an isometric view. So I need to insert a projected view using this. I'm going to drag diagonally. There's my isometric view. It's also much too large. So I need to right click, view properties, and I don't want it full size, 1:1. I want it, let's say, we'll do 1/4, right? It's 1/4 of the size of the actual part. I'll confirm that, and I'm gonna move that up here. So I've got my multi-views placed. I want to point out on Classroom, this should have populated your assignment. I summarized, I gave you some resources, I'm going to show you. This is what I need in your drawing. Right now, I have the multi-view. I'm done with that. I need dimensions to specify the positions on my multi-view. Now, I'm only going to do a couple because one, this is actually a really complicated assembly to do all these little dimensions. But for example, over here, I'm going to dimension and say, hey, the end of this component, I want to start by assembling it. I'm going to do it over here. 1.105 inches away from the base of the handle. I'm telling you, when you assemble it, you should locate these parts in this way, right? Put them this close together. Again, this is a really hard one to dimension. Here's a good example. Where should I assemble this slider? The bracket. I'm going to specify the center of that, the holder for the phone should be 0.2 inches away from the top. And it should be, I have to do it up here, 0.313 inches away from the edge. That tells me where to locate that part and then assemble it. Does it make sense that I'm not dimensioning the part, I'm dimensioning the location of the part, right? When you guys do yours, give me at least a couple. You don't need all of them. If yours is complicated, just give me a couple and show me that you know that my dimensions need to be the location of my part, like how far over it is, how close it should be, things like that. All right, so I'm going to leave it at that. I just want to give you an example, but I've dimensioned some positions of my part. So I'm done with that. Now, I need an exploded view. This is something new. To make the exploded view, I need to go back to my assembly tab. In my assembly tab, on the right side, there's 3 icons that we've never used. On the bottom, it's exploded views. If I open this up, I can add an exploded view. Do you see this gold bar that popped up? This gold bar is indicating, hey, you're in exploded view mode. You're creating an exploded view. What you do is you basically take all the parts and you drag them away and you essentially pull all the parts apart. So what I want to do is I want all the parts except, see if I can select them all. Yes, I want all of these parts. I want to slide them out. After you click and drag and move the parts, you basically pull it apart. It'll ask you to confirm, hey, do you want to add this as a step to your exploded view? And you can even change if you click and drag, that's the easiest, but you can get really specific. Say, yep, that's the first step. Do you see how it's now disconnected? I've pulled all the end pieces off of the assembly. I'm going to leave the handle and the slider together because I'd have to pull it all the way out. So then I'm like, okay, that's what I want. Now I want to keep going, and I want all the rest of these parts. I'm going to pull all of these out again. That's my second step, right? I confirm that. I say, oh, I got to disassemble the screw. I'm going to pull that out to the side. I'm going to pull it out of where it's actually assembled. I'm going to confirm that step. I'm basically going to just pull all these parts, all the pieces apart. and I'll drag that apart. Confirm. I want all these parts. Pull it away from the pin. Confirm that step. Got 2 more that I'll drag apart. Confirm that step. Then this one is actually done. But I'll click this, drag it away, and confirm. Do you see that? I basically pulled my assembly apart. That's what you want. You want to give spacing between all the components and show how they fit together. This will help people understand how this assembly is made. When I'm done, I'm going to click done. That gold bar goes away, and I'm back into normal assembly view. Now, I'm going to go back to my drawing. You guys see this gold circle over here? Normally, this isn't gold. When it turns gold, it says, hey, you've made changes that you need to update. So I'm going to go ahead and click update. It'll update all the information in here. The reason I needed to do that is because I need to place another view, and there's an option for an explode. Well, now, my explode 2, the one I just made, is now updated to my drawing file. So I want the exploded view. Do you see how it has the front view? It's taking the exploded view I made but looking down the front. Well, that's not useful for me. All exploded views will almost always be isometric. Again, that's far, far too big. How do I fix this? How do I make it smaller?
Properties.
Yes, right click, view properties, and it's the scale. I need to make it smaller. And I'll confirm that. That is my exploded view. Does everybody see that? Again, I had to shrink it a lot. It doesn't show up very clearly, but to make it fit. Do you see how all the parts were pulled apart? And you can see, okay, if I take this, push it, push it, push it, all the pieces will assemble. Then I got to push this screw in. That's an exploded view. Helps you understand how they're all put together. Now, what I'm missing is what's called the bill of materials. What I need to do is I need to go back to my assembly view. Again, a good shortcut to know, if I don't want to mess with zooming all the way out, if I click the F key, it'll zoom out so that your object fills the screen. On the left side, the top icon, or excuse me, the right side, it says BOM table. Notice it's already got the part numbers listed. When I hover over, you see how that part is highlighted in gold? It shows you the parts that you added in order, and it'll highlight what that part is. Now, I've already gone through and I've edited this. I look at part 1, I'm like, I need to name that. I don't want it to be 1. That's not useful. I'm going to add a part number, or you could add description. It doesn't matter. And I literally typed in slider. I described the parts. So what you'll need to do is go through part by part and add a part number or description, it doesn't matter which box, to label the part. That way a human can understand what that part is, not literally just a number. So once you do that, you go back to your drawing. Mine errored out again. Typically this should be gold, and you'd click it and update that new information. It'll update it so that you can use it. It happened to me last time. I had to refresh my browser, and then it would update the information. So when this comes back up, what I need to do is insert my bill of materials. There's a button for it. Right here, BOM table. It'll pull the bill of materials from your part list that you had just made. I'm going to have to move some stuff big time. Actually, I'm going to delete this view. It's just in the way. Do you see how it pulls it in automatically? It knows the number. It defined what's part 1, what's part 2, and I added my descriptions. So someone can say, part 1, oh, that's the slider. I want to point back. I've got the exploded view placed. I have the parts list, aka the bill of materials. I'm missing these balloons. Those are really easy to put in. You use the callout feature. What you have to do is you zoom in and you need to click an edge of the part. If I try to click in the empty space in between the part, it won't work. I need to find just some line on the part. Boom. It knows that that's part 7. It's got all that documented. So you're just telling it on chip, hey, display that this is part number 7. And then someone will go and say, part number 7. Oh, that's the top grip. That makes sense. And then you have to make sure that you just label all of your parts. That's part 4. I'm going to try alternating. You literally are just clicking. I don't want that one. It's nice to click the very edge so that that arrow doesn't overlap. Three. 1 and 2. Boom. I'm done. The callouts identify what part is what part number, and then they go to the bill of materials to say, oh, part number 7 is the top grip. You could add material, you could add descriptions. And then I've completed everything. I have the multi-views. I dimensioned the part location. I made the exploded view, and I put that in my drawing. Then I added balloons to identify what parts are what in my exploded view. And then I added a bill of materials after editing the part names. This is all I'm going to have you do, and you would, right? Print a PDF and save that and submit it to Classroom. That's all I need you to do today. What you guys are going to do is you're going to work with your partner from Project 137, the headphone case you designed. All you're going to do is get those 2 parts, assemble them. It should be like one joint that you make, right? And then you go through this process that I just did. Put some multi-views of the assembly, make an exploded view, put that in, balloon the parts to label them, make a bill of materials and put that in, and then add some dimensions for the location. Done. You guys are going to work with your partner. You only need to submit one assignment, right? If Brody and Trevor are working together, they're going to work on it together and help each other out, but maybe Brody is doing it and submitting it. When Brody submits it, he's going to add a comment like Brody and Trevor. That way I know, okay, Brody and Trevor get credit for this submission, and I'll give you both points. If you forget your partner's name, I can't give them points. So make sure you remember to put your partner's name, and if you're the partner, make sure you have them list your name in the submission. That way I can give you guys points. All right? I'm going to turn you loose now. I'm going to be around to help you get started. If you have questions, let me know. If you didn't do this project for some reason, or you don't have parts to assemble, I can post like 2 random parts that I just need you to assemble them, and then you can do this whole project and show me you know how to do this. All right, so if that's the case, just raise your hand and let me know. I'll come help you with that. Any other questions before I turn you loose?
My partner was the one with technical issues, so we don't have a lid.
Okay, I can send you the parts that I will have you do just so that you can complete the assignment. It's 2 easy parts. I don't really care about the assembly itself. I care about, can you do this? Can you make an exploded view? Can you make a bill of materials? Things like that. Huh? Okay. So any other general questions about what we're doing? Okay, I'll get you parts. Just give me a moment. Virtual students, if you did the project yourself, you are going to use your two parts, the case, the bottom and the lid. If you worked with a partner, which I don't think any of my virtual students did, but otherwise you're going to be just doing it yourself. It won't be that bad at all. If you didn't, virtual students, I'm pretty sure that in your assignment, I added the two parts that I want you to assemble. So if you didn't do this project for some reason, you're going to use these two parts, right? Download them to your computer, go into Onshape and upload them into Onshape so you can use it. Assemble those two parts. It should be literally one mate to connect them. And then you go through this exact process that I just showed you with that really simple assembly. Any other questions in general? Again, this I want done before we leave. So you guys have like an hour to do this. It shouldn't take you an hour. I want you to crank through this. And then any time that we have remaining today, it's going to be your free time. Both yesterday and today were light days. And this is, I guess, my treat to you guys for heading into fall break. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Again, virtual students, I've listed your instructions here. If you didn't do the project, use these two parts and make a simple assembly, and then follow along with my video instructions I just did to complete this activity. And make sure what you're submitting is a PDF document of the assembly drawing with all the parts that I list in the submission in the Google Classroom submission requirements. If you work with a partner, make sure you comment, this is, Brody and Trevor's submission, so that I can give you and your partner work if you work together. If you're working by yourself, you don't need to write that. All right? Again, virtual students, I won't see you or talk to you for a long time, so please enjoy your fall break, and then we will see you guys in like 10 days.